Well, I'm recording. Um,
Hello.
hey,
Is that
welcome.
better?
Yes.
All
Um, Chat GTP.
right. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy what it can do. What I was saying was that it can look at algorithms as far as YouTube goes and replace. I think it'll ultimately wind up replacing a lot of the creative side of what people do, as far as writing novelties, books,
And even art too.
making videos. Yeah, art can easily be made using this. Um, Video wise, it can make pictures. So all it would have to do create hundreds of the same picture in motion, and it could create a video. It could write a script for the video. It can read the video. Um, and it will get to a point at some time in the future that we won't know what's human and what was made by this AI, um, because it has so much potential to grow and understand. Um, as long as it has some control. But a lot of people have been talking that when this goes live, like in several years, I'm sure. Um, I know it's live
Actually,
now,
it's
but when
this
it
year.
grows bigger, um,
Yeah.
well, I know it's live right now, but in the
Well,
future, they say it'll be able to create a reality where uh, everything can be whatever you want it to be. So it's like virtual reality. It's not real. It's put on the goggles. It's like Ready Player One. You've seen Ready Player One. Everyone
yeah.
lives the awful real life. Then they go into the video game and they have this amazing, beautiful, just crazy, do whatever you want world. I think we'll be looking at something similar to that. Um, Due to its capabilities, and then it'll get even further, I'm sure, by eventually becoming physical. I believe that at some point,
VR type.
well, no, even further than that, robots, actual robots that can be, we wouldn't be able to distinguish them between one person or another, because the
Yeah.
robot would have a personality. And if that happens, could we technically take our own consciousness, every experience we've ever been through, everything we believe in, everything we care about, and put it into this machine, this
Robot.
robot, yeah, and recreate ourselves? So space exploration, we use robots, rovers and whatnot, satellites, all kinds of different things because they're adaptable. The human body couldn't survive up there, but a machine could. So, would we ever see space travel through our own eyes in the version of us being a robot? So, our human body would die, but we would live on through our own experiences in these robots, these androids. Um, and that's what some people have kind of mentioned happening. And I think it'd be neat. How would you feel about that if you could upload your consciousness? Do you think you would?
I actually thought about that. Thought about that about 3.5 hours ago for some reason. I realize, and I think about this all the time, that the only thing we really own is our mentality, our bodies, and our
100%.
state of mind. And if
100%.
you could possibly find a private thing that only you know about, to make it to where you have less limitations, like more space in your head,
Yeah.
um,
Not to
like a
mention how
drive.
much faster you would learn things as well.
And you'd keep them learned, and they
Not
wouldn't be
and
able to do anything. But
technically you
if,
would know infinitely because you could connect directly
hmm
to the meta, the internet. You would
yeah,
never have to question anything again. But then it comes into a
hmm
question. I'm
hmm
sorry to interrupt. How
yeah,
can
you're fine.
people use this to like mess with people? Because there's
Yeah,
scammers, there's hackers.
yeah, and it's a
Body jacking would become a thing. I guarantee it. Body jacking.
yeah,
I don't know if that's a thing or not, but
not
someone
technically.
taking over another person's body through the internet.
Mind, yeah.
There's a movie I seen once. It was basically it was a battle royale type deal. These guys were in prison, and if they win 100 battles, they get to go free. The only thing is, someone has to control them. So someone else basically fights. It's like a video game. They play the prisoner as a character, and if the prisoner wins 100 games, then they go free. And these are life ease, so people
Yes.
have been in prison for life. So I think it
Okay.
may get to the point where that could happen. And the only reason this is scary right now, I'm very intrigued by it, but we don't know what comes next after this because there's so much potential and opportunity. Um, I think this will replace a lot of different things in so many ways.
Hmm. Yeah. And especially if it's owned by like a public company, then they know everything you've looked at, you've seen, you've
Hmm.
thought, what you like. I mean, if you think about it, like they they can't cope to everybody at the same time, so they use robots to do that. Like
Yeah.
you have one very powerful guy, and he's not going to take his time to control like billions of people. That's what AI is for, like the recommendation system.
Hmm.
I was talking with somebody a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't like the videos I was seeing on Instagram, so I changed um my whole thread." And not a lot of people know like my thread can be changed, but you can literally up um search up any type of video, and if you look at like three or four of them in a row, like it, save it,
Yeah.
and your whole thread will change towards that.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that with YouTube. Before I got serious about, business and self improvement and whatnot, I looked at, just the usual stuff, things that interested me, interesting YouTube videos, how to videos, DIY, wilderness. And then I started looking at so many self improvement, um, build yourself up, business type deals that all my YouTube recommendation is that how to make
Yeah.
money. That's what it is, 100%. And that was in the span of probably 2 weeks it took to change. Because I changed and started watching it so much so fast, and it adapted, which raises another point. If one day we upload our consciousness, um, and become a robot, could we create an ideal person? Like, could we create the perfect spouse? Like, was your perfect image of a female, and, you know, create someone to be there with you? Because
Well,
at some point,
we've already kind of
robots.
changed the views of how we look at people. And it's really weird. I've seen this for a long time too. For a long time, you had to be like extremely fit to be on television, right? You had to be like
Mm-hmm.
the perfect type of person, and it made us seem as if we needed to be healthy, which we did. We do need to be healthy. We
Of
need to look
course.
healthy. We need to feel healthy. But nowadays on television, there's nothing against it, but it's just interesting to see that almost nobody on television is extremely healthy. Um,
Yeah.
if you haven't noticed that before, if you look on like all these ads, they're not the healthiest people, and I think that's promoting a bunch of people to like decline the ability to be mentally and physically um, capable to do what they want, because that is the only thing they can do. That's the only thing they own about
Yeah.
themselves. So I just thought it was very interesting the way they changed their technique of marketing.
Yeah. Me personally, I don't watch much TV. Um,
Hmm.
but I could definitely see it, and I would say the way the whole world, especially America has shifted has been negative as far as health. It's been declining rapidly, and it probably will continue to decline.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I saw a bunch of things, a, a bunch of information about different foods that have been what's the word for it?
Nutrition,
It's they took it back. Like it wasn't good. A
recalled.
recall. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they recalled a bunch of food, and it's like Cheerios, Cheez-Its, Pringles. Obviously, like, yeah, we know some of this stuff has that, like Cheez-Its. If people go like ape crazy, kind of like a rat, if you give a rat or a mouse cheese, it'll go crazy, right? It always wants the cheese. And in the commercials, like everybody's running around just to get
Oh yeah.
Cheez-Its,
Yep.
and
I've seen
it's
that.
kind of how it is. You open the bag and you want to get all of it down and then buy another one. But there's pesticides, weed pesticides in Cheez-Its, and it's not a bunch to where it immediately harms us, but it's completely terrible to inhale or just to eat. Like if you're on a diet,
Hmm.
I saw something the other day about potatoes. They're starch potatoes and they're completely fake. Just like McDonald's chicken. We always knew McDonald's chicken was fake, but did we really care?
Yeah.
Did most of the people really care? Um, there was one other food that really surprised me, and I can't think of it right now. Um,
I know one that shocked me was cabbage. If you look from like the 1940s to right now, the nutritional value of every single food has declined. There's less nutrients. It's fattening. It's not good for you.
yeah,
You,
and
you don't get
it's
the
fake.
vitamins you need from it. Yeah. Overall, yes, we have a lot of it. I guess if that's the reason genetically engineering these to grow faster has been done, but we're losing a lot of the nutritional value that comes from our food,
I saw
and
a
health
fact.
is declining. You know,
The fact.
very
I
much.
saw a fact another day, and it was in people in the 1950s, they had less food than us, right? Less types of food and less quantities of food.
Yeah, I
But
would say so.
we've had nutritionists, dietists, like doctors for a long time,
Hmm.
and they they measured that the average person in 1950 would eat about 2 pounds of sugar in a year. 2 pounds of sugar. That's not too much. It's like maybe if you pile it all up, that's like about the size of two phones. Like 2 pounds of sugar in a year, and the average of what we are eating today is half a pound a day.
Mm,
And it's crazy because
that's
that's what,
awful.
like 150 per year. And if you stack that up, that can be almost the size of a desk, like a chair that you're sitting on. And it's crazy about how our bodies can like get over that.
Yeah, that's wild. I know. Food is not nearly as filling too. You know, I feel like you have to eat a lot more of it, especially fast food. Yes, you get food, but it doesn't fill you up. Like I know I'm really bad about McDonald's. Um, when I would eat there, I would get the burger or the chicken nuggets, and I'd say the nuggets would fill me up okay, but you always need more. I guess that's just me, probably my size. I don't know if it's for everyone, but especially the burgers, even Burger King, they are so thin and small. You just have to eat so many of them in order to
Yeah.
really get full. Um, Not to mention
Believe it or
how
not,
bad that probably is for you.
it's interesting with what I had said with the potatoes earlier, and I hadn't realized this, but every time I go out to eat in a fast chain restaurant, the burgers never make me full, like you say.
Hmm.
But something always like fills me up super fast, and it's always been the fries. And I don't order fries most of the time just because it fills me up, and I don't want anything else. Like it makes you feel sick. Now I don't know which one, the burger or the fries, makes you feel completely horrible after eating it. Um, but it that like something there's not right, and I'm pretty sure the fries. I know the fries are what fills me up a bunch, but I haven't done the research if they're real or fake. But I can safely guess that they're probably fake. And a
Yeah.
research that I was looking at a couple of days ago, it was about fast food chain meat procedures.
Mm. That
And
sounds
you know how they
awful.
rate them all like A through F, like a test.
Yeah.
And McDonald's, Burger King, they both got F ratings for their meat practices, and it's not shown. Like I didn't even know that. No one
Mm.
knew about it. We still eat there all the time. F ratings. Are you kidding me?
You want to know
F
what's even
ratings.
crazier? There's a lot of people, and you can find it on YouTube. I've seen it in dentist office. I've gone in before. Um, it'll be like this cheeseburger was bought in 2016, and you look at it and it looks brand new. Like you could have just
Just
bought
like a
that.
Twinkie.
Yeah, it's
Just like
it's
a Twinkie.
horrible. It's horrible. Like the amount of preservatives and chemicals and other junk that this processed food that we consume every day, like you mentioned, we eat this all the time. It's F-rated food. It's not good for you, but it's so accessible that people will buy it all the time. I mean, it's horrible. There was a guy. You can find this video on YouTube. That's where I found it. I watched this video years ago, or I'd say who it was. But when McDonald's was doing their supersize promotion, so if they ask if you want your fries supersized, I don't know if it was the whole meal or just the fries, he would say, "Yeah, supersize me," and that was if they asked, and it was a challenge he posted on YouTube. He gained so much weight that his doctors were worried he was gonna die. Like I believe he started to have heart issues, and his doctor's like, whatever you're doing, you have to stop. It's going to kill you. And all he was
Yeah.
doing was eating fast food and just eating it all the time, 3 meals a day.
Think
I
about
think it was
just
specifically McDonald's.
digesting pure plastic every meal for
Yeah,
every
that
day.
sounds
Your body
awful.
just isn't designed to take it. It,
No,
it
no.
shouldn't take it. So, I mean, there's still good brands out there. A bunch of good brands. The food I've started to eat and buy is like fruits from across the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. But I have a really good flavored mango, and it's only mango. Like there's
Mm,
a
that
little
sounds
bit
good.
of sugar coated on it, but it's complete um, mango,
Yeah, I
and
may
it's
have
not
to look into
fake.
that. That sounds good
So
because
there's a bunch of things out there that's still original. Like it's not completely terrible for you, but you
yeah.
do have to look at the labels on the back.
Yeah, I know one thing I've seen, it was tomatoes, and they were grown 100 years apart, and it was this giant, palm-sized tomato 100 years ago. It was dark, it was red, it had bulges almost like a pumpkin would, and then you have today's tomato. You know what it looks like? It's rounded like a little
Yeah,
baseball or something,
they
and
spray paint them.
yeah, it's strange, and it's at certain places I know they coat the apples with plastic, like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
glossy
like a
plastic to try,
wax.
yeah, try to make it look good, and it's awful, it's horrible,
Hmm.
and it's to make it look more appetizing. I can't imagine why, um, you know, what the appeal is. I guess more people are buying it, but
Yeah, I've actually stopped buying and eating apples.
yeah,
I
I
don't know why. I bit into one of them with wax in it, and it just tasted terrible, and
yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Well, you can't eat something that tastes bad. If it's not good, then there's no point in having it. And that brings another point to like the candies and the amount of sugar we eat. Um, there's so much sugar in it now that I'd say we're accustomed to certain types of food. Like we say everything tastes like chicken. Well, that's because our taste buds are most familiar with chicken, and we don't have that wide enough range of taste to actually taste different things and get the full experience out of certain foods.
Correct. Hmm.
It's it's
By the way, have your
insane.
views changed on that question that we discussed last time? Have your views changed on it?
You could type it or reply to it or say it. I don't care. Up to you.
Uh, I can't remember how it was like directly stated, but I think it was I think it was how many times would you allow a woman that you wanted to cheat before you said no?
Um,
Has it changed?
well, I don't remember what I said, so I'll reinstate what I believe. If I'm with a woman, I like really want to be with her, and in the past she slept with another dude. It depends on how close they were, kind of how it ended. Is she even around this guy anymore at any point in time?
Mhm.
Um, stuff like that. But as far as like a body count, I would say I would not want to be with anyone. I wouldn't want to be serious with anyone who's been with over four people.
Yeah.
I think
No.
there's
What
purity
about
in one person.
what yeah. Yeah, which is I mean, it's to me it's respected on
Yeah.
because you
Well,
haven't, been crazy in your lifetime.
yeah. I
You
feel
have
like
enough respect for your body.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's respectful to yourself, especially um, respectful to the other person as well. But it
Hmm.
definitely to yourself. It's just you know, being smart with how you treat yourself. Not to mention all the different viruses and whatnot you can get into.
Yeah.
Softly
Um,
spoken. Softly spoken.
somebody had raised a question on a video I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was uh once again I can't state it perfectly because it's not crystal clear in my
Yes,
mind, but
it's okay.
um it was how do you feel about, let's say if you had a girlfriend, right? And how would you feel if uh she had a bunch of friend zoned boys hanging out with her?
Um,
Like let's say five. If she had five, she genuinely thinks they're best friends, like they're friend zoned uh boys that just do stuff with her.
it's very funny you mentioned this because I actually do see this sometimes, and I don't mind as much as long as I know where she's at, what's up, because I'm responsible, I care, and if you've heard it before, I'm sure. If I'm with someone, I was like, hey, don't go out and do this, and they go out and do this anyway and get into trouble, don't call me. Um, I tried to help you out and tell you not to do something, you did it anyways. That's on you.
Yeah.
But I
But
mean,
wouldn't
I
you
mean that's
think,
just you have to accept that because there's always going to be that group around her. It doesn't matter who she is, how good she looks. There's always going to be that group, and I would say the friend zone group is a group who the guys who tried to get with her before, and she
yes, I
told
was
them
just
no.
about to say that. Don't you think that obviously if they tried to like make a move, right? They're interested in her and
100%.
probably
100%.
more
I could
than
look at a guy and tell. I can look at a guy and I just know. I mean,
yeah.
that's
So,
something you may not know about me. I could read a situation and I could read a person like I'm reading a book. I mean,
mhm,
I could just pick up
I
on
have some really
certain things
strong
people
traits
are,
about that too.
yeah, what people are thinking, and you have to in order to really um be good with people. You have to know what they're thinking. You have to know what they want to hear. You have to
So would you still
think logically.
let her go to the mall and trust her with some of these people, knowing that they once, wanted to be with her and she friend zoned them, and she's probably oblivious to this, and
Oh yeah,
she ends up
definitely,
like,
definitely. She has no clue,
yeah,
and you could tell her, and she wouldn't believe you. She'd be like, "No, we're just friends." No, I could see it in his eyes. I could see
hmm
the way he acts when I'm around you. I could see the jealousy, and I know he wants to be the one holding you, and
yeah.
I know that. I could see
What
that.
about what about like what are your thoughts on the boy in this situation? Like the boy and the girl. Let's say if the girl knew about it and she still didn't really care to do anything, what would your thoughts be about that? Or
Personally, depends on the shape and my thoughts on the guy. If he's um not a high class guy, I don't care. I mean, there's always gonna be guys around her. I'd rather him be, it's tough, but less than I am. As long as I'm more fit, I'm more appealing. I can do more. I make more. Um,
yeah, which makes
I
sense
mean,
because
there
they're not a threat.
there's no, yeah, exactly. There's no threat there. There's no escaping this in reality. This is always going to be a thing, and you just have to be the more desirable man, you know. And as long as you're more desirable than they are, I don't think you have anything to worry about. And if she does wind up, doing something with one of these other guys, I would cut her off, no questions asked. I mean, I expect her to be loyal to me, and she wasn't, so that's it. Game over. Done. She lost her opportunity.
And what's your opinion about let's say if she did know, like she's not doing anything, but she did know, because if you're smart enough and you
I
realize,
feel
hey,
like
this kid
everyone
came up to me,
I feel like everyone kind of knows in the back of their mind. Like
they just
I
don't want to
know.
say it.
I mean, I feel like they would even be open to say it. Like you could ask them, "Hey, has such and such ever asked you out or seemed interested in you?" And I would say 9 times out of 10 they would say yeah. And it's just being conscious of it being there, and she needs to be aware that this is happening. Like let's say it like this: if she wanted to go with a group of guy friends, as long as there's other girls going and it's like a group, I wouldn't care as much. If it's her and one other guy, yeah, I would be kind of watching that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want that to happen. But if it's like a group of friends, like, hey, the friend groups, the girls and a couple of guys are going to this, odds are I would be going with her if I wanted her to go. I would go with her, if it's group. Um,
yeah. If they don't have anybody, let's say if they're still looking for people and they have like those two or three members that have been friend zoned. I feel like in my opinion, it kind of keeps us away from you because, in a way, three people have asked you, you've all said no, which probably means your standards are bullcrap, or you're very picky, and are, in a way, you could be described articulate. Um,
I
but
think it comes down
yeah,
to personal preference as well as age plays a big part in it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I feel as if you've said no, my respect for the man goes down because he should be bold enough to go for somebody else. But I
Agree,
genuinely just
100%.
wouldn't. I might approach him and figure him out, but if I have less patience with people like that,
If I
that kind
like a
of
girl,
moves down the scale.
if I genuinely like a girl, and I'm only really going to talk to a girl I have interest in, um, I'm gonna make my intentions clear as to what I would expect from her being around me. Um, you know, if she's not interested in me at all, okay, whatever, moving on. If she shows interest, I would kind of, lay it out. Hey, this is how things are. Um, if you like it, cool, awesome. If not, sorry, I will find someone else.
Yeah, there's always someone
Yeah.
that will handle that situation or any
Hmm.
situation perfectly.
And
So it's not like you're limited to the amount of people.
yeah. Also regarding the friend zone, I would think I would say look at how these guys behave around other girls. I wouldn't. I mean, I'd still be conscious. I'm always conscious about it. But if they have a girlfriend too, I would hope they would be loyal to her. And I feel like in that situation, more than anything, it would come down to the scenario the group puts themselves in. So
Hmm.
as long as they stay in like a good environment and you know, set clear boundaries, it should be okay.
Yeah.
But you know, honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. But I'm not going to tell someone not to talk to people because that would be
Yeah.
awful. You have to talk to people. Humans are
No, I know.
naturally social creatures. You you look in the past and groups of people have always been together. Um and you know, you want to socialize in some way with other people. You know, everyone wants someone to talk to. You know, it's difficult to be alone. It's definitely possible. And if you could be alone, either you feel like you
Take
can't climb
advantage of
back,
it.
or yeah, or you're about to glow up, as they would say. You know, you're about to become something huge because you've accepted that you can be alone and still feel good, and
Yeah.
that makes you very powerful.
Um, Speaking of like alone, you know that survival TV show, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Where they all go out to I think it's like Alaska and they try to survive for
yeah.
the longest amount of time for like $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about this yesterday because I've been taking more walks. I've been taking like an hour walk every 2 days, just thinking. And how is it that people are so desperate to make money that they would go out in the woods completely and utterly alone and possibly risk death out in the harshest area almost of the world because it's very cold just for $1 million, and now it's $500,000, and there's a bunch of people that do it.
Yeah,
Like, isn't like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, how?
yeah. I could see it. Actually, I've thought about doing that show. I was like, you know, just um you know, the money obviously plays a big part. A lot of people want money, and $1 million to some people is a lot of money. You know, you can take care of a family very well, living a
A
modest
year now.
lifestyle. Just an average lifestyle, I should say. You know, just kind of middle class, holding on to the money. But I think it would be fun just to go out and do it, just to say that you know
Yeah.
it's something you've done, and I would definitely be willing to go on the show if nothing else, just to see what I'm made of. You know, go out
Hmm.
into the
Test
wild and
yourself.
just yeah exactly test yourself. And
I would, if I was going to do it, I would primarily want to embrace like the silence because you rarely get silence, and once you're
yeah
disconnected from all these phones and computers and you're up there by yourself, you have time to think. And almost all the times when they're coming out, they're getting pulled out, they're like, yes, this redirected my life, I know what's truly important, my family. And almost all of them say that. So there's always a clicking moment while you're out there because there's nothing for you to do but think and survive.
yeah
So because they have that much time, they're finally realizing what their heart really wants to do and where they want to go and why they want to do it.
yeah. I feel
Um,
like that would be great too. As far as going out into the wilderness,
mhm.
if you have a community, because if you have a community of strong of focused, willing people who want to survive and stay and do that, your limitations are endless. I mean, you could do, you can survive. I mean, there's ways to do it, and I've thought about that. You know, getting off the grid, going somewhere, and just disappearing. You know,
Yeah.
And I've always thought, that would be fun. I could live like that. And then I get to thinking, I'm like, I could go by myself and I wouldn't. I mean, I would survive for a while, but I probably would at some point just stop fighting, unless there was like a will to get somewhere. Like if a plane crash happened, no, I'm not gonna give up.
You
Of
want to
course,
make
I'm
it
not gonna
home.
give up. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have a drive to get home, but if you go out on your own and you decide this is what you want to do, and you're so convinced that this is good for you that you're like you have to do this, and then you go and do it and you realize how hard it is, unless you're mentally prepared for that, you're going to give up. You're going to quit. You're going to turn around and go back, or you're going to die out there. And I think it comes down to those two things. You just have to be mentally prepared, and having a group of people who share your strong mindset would make you invincible. I mean, just the group you surround yourself with when you go out into that environment. I think it would be fantastic if you could go out and, personally, I've always wanted to see the way the Native American tribes used to live. The environment I'm in now, what it used to look like before all this industrialization. Um,
Yes, yes.
I would
No, I
love
can
just to see it.
yeah, the Red Dead map and area.
Hmm.
It That's what I always think about that when I see somebody else playing that is I wonder what the mountains, what the sky, what it would smell like, what it
Oh
feel
yeah, for sure.
like the dirt roads and all that. But it was a harder time. You would die of diseases, bullets, thieves. Like it was a harder time, but it was more beautiful in a way.
I wouldn't say it's too different from where we are now.
Yeah, we just have different
Um,
problems.
yeah, the different issues. Now, one thing I heard someone talking about, they said the worst thing that ever happened to men, um, mankind, but more men, was learning how to grow, um, grow food. Planting a seed that allowed men to settle down. Yeah, you can survive more easily, but that loses like your aggressive edge. We're so civilized now. We don't fight wars within ourselves. Native American tribes, they had enemies. They fought for territory. They fought for women. They fought for food. They fought to survive. It was just common. I mean, as far as the strong man
It
goes,
was
you
a
had to be
yeah,
strong.
a
You
common
don't
goal.
make it as a weak man. You just don't. But now everything's a lot easier, and honestly,
It's
um,
softened.
yeah, it's a lot softer. That's why I'd say there's so much power in the sports we play, like football, for instance. It's a mellowed down version of war, because it's two teams fighting for one victory, one cup, and I'd say I've definitely heard this. I wish I could remember where, but it just it keeps that edge up and kind of keeps that strong competitiveness in humanity. Now that being
Yeah.
said, as far as competitiveness, what do you think would happen if every single person on Earth agreed to work together?
Ooh, that's kind of tough because it really depends on like what standpoint, like on in every possible situation in the
Well,
world.
I'm talking about progressive wise. What do you think we could accomplish?
Ah, I honestly, we're so far into genes and stuff that I think that if everybody was actually helping and nobody was like really evil and tried stopping anybody or too much profit was going one way,
Yeah,
if everybody genuinely wanted to continue, I feel as if I would think that we'd be far, let's say if in 2050. Is that a fair time around there?
I would say.
All right, so about in 2050, about
So if
25 years.
so if everyone worked
So
together right now in 25 years.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I know 100% that we would have medicines that could change depending on the person's DNA.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so that we wouldn't have any side effects of the medicine like nausea, death,
Yeah, yeah. I believe I've heard that once
heartburn and
before,
stuff.
actually. Um,
I feel like I've heard that one before, but I can't remember how long ago or when.
yeah,
But we would definitely be in space. I feel as if we would,
100% agree.
if not Mars, we would totally be on another planet like the moon.
I think we would be all over as far as
Mhm.
colonization goes. It'd be just like selling to the new world, the West world. It would be we'd send groups of people to survive, establish ways to survive, and then we would start sending large groups. Not to mention reproduction of humanity, and we would grow at such a fast scale. And yeah, before all
Longer
this, though,
lives.
yeah, well,
But
maybe,
also, we could master the art of like regeneration, or healing
mm-hmm,
ourselves better and more efficiently. There's so many things on this planet, like I've heard starfish and
yeah, yeah,
lobsters regenerate themselves, but I would say like the most common one would be a lizard because it can regrow its tail.
yeah.
Like imagine
Everyone
somebody
knows.
shooting you in the chest and you just like of course you're going to be in critical condition, but you can regrow that um without getting too much implants and surgery and losing too much. Like if somebody cuts your finger off, you can regrow that back. If they like the veterans, if they ever come back from if we ever have like a war, because in that case we really don't want one from the technology we would have. But if we did, we would be able to. The ones that survived would actually be able to walk again
Yeah.
and do all that. So we could be really far, but nobody ever is going to completely comply and work
Oh
together.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I mean, we have some strong
There's just
chances.
different cultural beliefs. You can't
Yeah.
force the same thing onto everyone. It would have to be like an open agreement. You want to do this. And back to what you're saying about the war, just something fun. I believe it was Einstein, maybe, who said, "I don't know what weapons we'll fight World War III with, but we'll fight World War IV with sticks and stones." It's like the
Which is
complete
completely true.
deconstruction and then reconstruction of humanity.
hmm
And I,
And
I
that's
think
completely true.
if everyone were to come together, I feel like the first thing that would happen, money would no longer be a thing. I feel like it'd be wiped out. Everyone's agreeing to help one another. Then there would have to be a common goal everyone wants to do. So let's say space travel. Well, I think spaceships will appear all over the planet. Um, shuttles, different landing zones, different test
What about
facilities.
government? Like
Um,
the type of government we would have? What do you think that would be like?
I feel like it would almost be no government if everyone kind of had an agreement. This would be like a shared mindset, a hive mind, so to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So everyone would kind of share this
The same
same belief,
ideals.
and you could disagree with it, but ultimately you see the reason behind the hive mind, and it's actually proven in a study that the hive mind does exist to a small degree, and that's just like um someone over here might experience something, and then we will have it in the back of our mind if we experience that same thing, that hey, this might happen before. Could be a reason for deja vu. But uh, space shuttles will start appearing everywhere if everyone wants to get to space, and we would have certain groups, selective people would be chosen, and then I feel like we would ultimately wind up using all our resources on Earth. I feel like all of it would deplete, so we would have to
Well,
go somewhere else.
we're going to be doing that anyway, if we work together or not.
Well, I feel like
So
it would
we're
speed it up 100
yeah,
times if everyone came together, because everyone is willing to sacrifice everything for this goal of
yeah.
expansion, exploration, reaching new places. So I feel like we'd run out of resources really fast.
So I have an interesting question. Whether on I'm genuinely interested in what your response would be. If you had not unlimited money, but if you had a solid amount of money and you had no business, like you just like it's kind of like in GTA. You spawned in this world as a let's say an 18-year-old male with like $5 million in his pocket. Like that's all you know. How would you start a business? What would be your number one way with that amount of money? Your most preferred way to start a business with a decent amount of money.
Me personally starting a business with 5 million. Um, I'd say real estate. If you have a 5 million and you know you have that amount of money, that's all you can get, and you have to start a business. I would say real estate's the way to go. I wouldn't buy huge places. I would look for environments that are growing up. The coast used to be a really good place to own houses. It still is. It's only going to grow further. But as of right now, I would say go to a place I enjoy, and then I would buy rental houses. I would buy them straight up. Don't owe any money, and then I would start renting them out all over the U.S. and I would expand further to the Middle East. Dubai is growing it really really fast. Um, Hear a lot about Dubai now. Um, there
I
would be
heard
investments that I would make. 100% going to invest, and then I would look at promoting what I do. I would establish myself as this company, and it would be real estate. And then I'd start promoting like there's no tomorrow. I would want to have at least a hotel of some kind on a um tourist location, and I would blow that thing out of the park with advertisement.
mhm.
All right, I know you're saying something. What were you saying?
um I'm trying to figure it out real fast, but think I think it's either Iraq, Iran, or Afghanistan. One of those countries over there. It was foretold in the Bible, and I saw something that had told me this, so it's not originally my idea, but it was foretold in the Bible that it was going to turn green again. And I thought, you know what? That is super useful and it's interesting. Um, and they showed camera shots of these rock mountains starting to slowly turn green with grass and bushes. And honestly speaking, nobody really owns much of anything over there because it was desert, right? It was just completely rocks. Like, who wants to own a rock mountain with nothing? But now that it's starting to grow, and it was prophesized that there were going to be thousands of rivers in that country, and it was going to be one of the luscious places on earth. And I thought that was just interesting because as of now, it is actually starting to grow, and there's starting to be a bunch of big bushes there, like green bushes with
Mm-hmm.
lots of grass and trees. And I think that would be an interesting thing to invest in, um, because I mean it was not saying like if you didn't believe in the Bible, I'm not saying that it's going to happen because of the Bible, which I do believe in that, but
Well, I
in
agree.
a way, it would be cool to invest in that before anything even happened because it's so cheap right now. Nobody wants to live there yet until it does become
Yeah.
beautiful and there
Well,
are rivers everywhere.
the question becomes, yes, it's bound to happen eventually, but the question really becomes, does it happen during your lifetime?
Hmm. Hmm. Kind of like what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago with owning some land in Chile and Mexico and down there,
Mm-hmm.
um, on how we don't know if it's going to happen in our lifetime or not. And for some context, We were talking about um, what was it, third world countries developing
Yes,
into first world countries,
yes.
which was very interesting because it makes sense. Why can't we all have first world countries eventually? There's so much technology that at some point, like these third world countries are going to advance in some way. Like some millionaire is going to go over there and make so much money just to like clean up that area.
And I don't
So,
doubt that's happening right now,
mhm.
somewhere, because everyone owns some part of the world. I would say there's
Yeah,
very limited. I would say there's no land that isn't in some way owned by someone, whether it be the government or a private um, investor.
yeah, I'd say that's right. I mean, the world's smaller. I used to think the world was massive. I used to think like why do we need another planet? This world is gigantic. I wouldn't be able to walk around the world within a lifetime. I wouldn't even be able to walk probably from coast to coast of the Americas in a lifetime. Um, because I number one am not efficient at it, but it's just it's big. But compared to Jupiter, the size is we're like ants, like extremely small ants. And this planet size isn't massive. It's not the smallest we've seen, but it's not massive. So once we've figured out like push satellites out into space and we've actually like seen this whole planet's surface, it becomes smaller because we've like completed the map. There's no more unknown. We know everything and we can travel everywhere and there's so much of us that eventually it's going to start filling up and get smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we actually, as a world, reached a population of 8 billion, which is
Ah, yeah, yeah, I
crazy,
remember that.
crazy to think about.
I think it was hit near early December, late November. I think that's when it was hit. But I don't know the
Yeah,
specific
I know it
date.
was just very recently hit.
Yeah. Um, I saw some there was a video on YouTube that I watched a couple of years ago, and it made a very interesting point. They were guessing how many people on this planet would we have before the planet just couldn't sustain us anymore. And I think they guessed at around 10 billion, either 10 or 20 billion, somewhere near there.
Yeah, I
But
was
we're
thinking
not.
upwards of
We aren't
30.
far off. We aren't far off at all. Um, Even if it is 30 billion, we're like 33% of the way there. I mean, it's going to take some time to get there, obviously, but like we're not that far.
I mean, it's inevitable that to survive, we will eventually have to achieve space travel and
Yeah.
colonization. And
Unless
that,
we change our way of energy completely and
well, I think even still,
space.
unless we're going to live on top of each other, we're going to have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And if it ever got to that point where land was super hard to get, I feel like the government would come and take everybody's land, and it wouldn't be your land anymore. It would be who can bid the highest on this piece of property,
Yep.
and everyone else would get moved into I know I mentioned Ready Player One, the stacks, the slums,
Yeah. They
and
were
you had to
stacked
go
up.
here. Yeah.
Yep.
Do I
And
really like gaming? No, I'm not a big fan of gaming, to be honest. I would rather do
it's
something else. And
fast.
that's why streaming for me has been so important, because I never well, I haven't played video games seriously since probably COVID. Like when COVID happened, there was nothing else to do. I'd play video games all the time. Since then, I never really play anymore, and this gives me an opportunity to a have fun. B, I get to chill out and relax, and C, I get to share everything that happens with other people, and um, you know, hopefully entertain some people. the ultimate goal of it is to monetize and be able to make a living off of it. Um, because I don't want to be stuck doing the normal thing, and I feel like if I could do something I enjoy, which I enjoy streaming. I don't like playing video games all the time, but streaming I do enjoy, especially seeing positive feedback. So I could definitely
Yeah.
continue doing it as far as that, and I I feel like I have to make it as far as streaming. I actually have a uh, uh, written down in my handy notebook that I was telling you about. I have a lot of business thoughts and ideas. One of my acronyms I found is this right here. It's FOCUS. It stands for follow one course until success. Focus.
Hmm.
And I've tried doing different things at the same time. And if you say pour your energy into three businesses or try to, you might be able to run them, but they're going to be small. You might not make much profit. Not much good will come of it. But if you focus all your energy into one thing, so now three times the amount of energy you were pouring into it before, you can absolutely blow it out of the water. I mean, if you pour your entire self into doing this and then get it where it sustains itself, you can do another one. You know, you have to build it up first to self sustainability, and then you can go on to something else you enjoy doing. So for me right now, it's streaming and working on YouTube.
I have so many tabs open.
Yeah, it's I know a lot of people talk about multimillionaires blowing up like, oh, he blew up overnight. No, he really didn't. He's been working for this his whole life, and it finally worked. Um, it's not something that happens overnight. It's definitely something you work for because nothing just happens.
Yeah.
You have to make it happen, and no one's gonna do it for you. No one wakes up, hey, how can I make such and such life better? No one's gonna do it unless you do it, and no one cares. If you're worried about what people will think about you, don't. They don't really care. They're so focused on themselves. You just have to do what you want to do and make sure you enjoy what you're doing and the way you're doing it. You want to be honest in your business.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I wanted to do. Stay honest and true. My head hurts. It's gotten a little colder, hasn't it? Would you say?
Um, I I'm not sure.
I know this
Maybe
morning
a
it was
little bit.
colder.
Yeah. It's hard for me to sit here and look outside and see all the sun and the green grass. I'm sitting in here. That's what really pushed me off video games in the first place was um I'm like this doesn't even matter.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't. Yeah, it might be cool and whatever, but it means nothing outside of that game. Like if I got 100 kills, 0 deaths in Call of Duty, no one sees that as I walk around. They see
Yeah.
me, and that's why I've focused on streaming, building my business and brand. Um, my business is myself. I am my brand. I am my own person, and that's what
Yeah,
I'm
Jake
branding.
said something like that. He said his brother was like, "I finally won. Look, I won. I won. I killed 20 people. with one death, and he looks at him. Andrew looks at him. He's like, "And who cares?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, who
it
actually
doesn't
cares?"
matter.
Yeah, and
It
then he was like, I realized from then on, I was like, who actually cares?
yeah, it's um more down to what people can see initially, but no one on a date, for example, you don't say if you're going to keep the girl, you don't say how many how much video games you play, how good you are at video games, and that's assuming you're in good shape too. See, if you put the amount of hours you put into video games into working out, you would be ripped. You would be so fit. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
So if you pour all that time and energy into something else, um, you could be just absolute monster of a person if you pour that energy into improving yourself, building a business, trying to improve the world in some way. You want to have an impact, of course, on the people around you.
yeah,
No, not really. I'm thinking because I look at this as helping build myself as well. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was. Um,
yeah,
but I got some work I need to do for my other channel and try to have some fun. I shouldn't. I'll probably grab a little drink. I'll probably just get some water. Then I gotta find a way to occupy myself for a little while.
yeah,
I got several things I need to look into and work on. So yeah, this is uh, a way to help improve and track progress, I suppose would be a good word. So,
that's kind of my goal on like my personal profile or account. I'm currently right now, I'm giving like tutorials on what I do, what's happened in the senior year, but I'm mainly tracking my progress of running.
yeah.
And I
I
want
I
that
just
to be like about my life. I want to mainly, what I'm doing, how good life is, maybe a video with like a car I have, but
yeah
I mainly want it to be generally like even though that's what I'm showing you, I want you to also be able to see how far I've gone
yeah.
and what I started at.
My my thing is I want to first of all I live with no regrets. If I want to do something, I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
I live that every day. If I feel like I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, and I try my best to do everything. You lay in bed at night and you're like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that, and I can lay in bed and be like, I have no regrets for today. I wouldn't change anything over again, and I just want to look back in the future, um, even next year, and just be like, oh, this is what I was like during 2023, and just you know track back what I did. And sometimes I do. I'm like, what if I would have done this back then? And then I'm like, no, I was doing what made me happy. I'm proud of what I done or have done, and I'll stick with what I'm doing now. If I would have started, last year, yeah, that would have been great. But I wasn't ready to start it then. But I'm ready now.
Yeah.
So it's
Just that was my thought towards
you
that
you
notebook I had of ideas. I wrote them down. I thought they were so stupid, but I told myself, don't erase it. Don't erase it. It might not be stupid one day. Don't erase it.
yeah
So I go back up there and I had some pretty darn good ideas. And I was like, why did I think that was dumb? So I need to start because right before you go to bed and right when you wake up is when you have your best ideas.
yep.
So you need to write them down. So I need to get back into that habit.
Yeah, what I've been bad about is I actually one day I was like so happy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start writing a book. So I didn't scrap the old book, but I was like, I'm not really feeling this anymore. So I kind of changed the writing style and started over. And I was like, um, this could be cool and fun. And I did it for one night. No, 2 nights. I did it for 2 nights. And then I got so busy working on YouTube, um, that I didn't do it. And
Yeah.
I I need to get back with that, but I've so much crazy going on right now. And I feel bad sometimes because I know I plan to publish at some point. I want to, of course, have my band, my YouTube channel, and I want to write books. Um,
Mhm.
so I
Both
was
are
like,
good way.
yeah, I want to uh write and publish, and I was like, well, if I write X amount of minutes this day, this adds up to this at the end of the year, and it's kind of like it's what I've heard a lot of times. Don't look at the final product. Look at the journey to the product. You have to enjoy what you're doing now,
Yeah.
in order to get where you really want to go. If you say I want to make $1 million, and then you're like I want to make $1 million every single day, you're never gonna make $1 million. You're not doing anything different. You have to write out a plan. You have to have um, set goals that you can reach to help you get to that point.
Hmm.
And if you can't write a plan to do it, you're never gonna accomplish it. It's not possible. You have to have some kind of plan. Um, I'm sure you've heard this from Tate. I've heard him use this example before. You're walking down the street, you see a guy in really fit, good shape. You're like, oh, how'd that happen? How'd you get like that? Oh, well, I fell and stood up and I had the body of a Greek god. No, he didn't. He ate a certain way, he trained a certain way. He woke up, he put hours into doing this, and he achieved this goal. And
Yeah.
it doesn't just happen. You have to work towards doing something. It's very important. I actually bought that little notebook I was telling you about. I carry it with me everywhere I go, and if something comes to mind, I write it down, and I
If you
can
have an
keep
extra
track of
one,
stuff.
I'd like one because I don't have any tiny notebooks. It'd be nice
Um,
to carry one around.
it is.
So if
Um,
you have an extra one, it'd be nice to have one. If you don't worry about it. Like, don't sweat.
I don't think I do. Um, I'll try to think of where I bought it from, and I'll let you know.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, but it's great. I bought notebook, pen, super handy to have.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll type it in. I think that's what it was. That's what it was. So yeah, if you're ever up there, go by there. They have all kinds of supplies and whatnot. And
Yeah.
if you go in the door and walk to the right hand side, they have notebooks and pens. And yeah, I'd recommend it. I have a big one I keep at home, and I have a small one I keep with me all the time. Alrighty, well, I'd say it pretty much wraps up everything for the generalization of this episode. What do you think?
Yeah.
All
I
right, got
mean,
anything else you want to add?
mm, I mean, I'm putting in like a little clip in almost all of my videos, not shorts, but videos, and it's me literally just saying back to the grind, and then I literally just end the video right on that.
All right,
I put it on both of them.
want to say it on three?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Back to the grind.
Grind, boys.
Oh yeah. Alrighty. I'll see you. Hope you enjoyed. Um, Mondays and Thursdays, check back with the channel. We'll be here. See ya.